throwing turn one Thoughtseize. This is the Goblins deck that I've been playing. It is based off of a bunch of different Goblin decks. It started off with one from a while ago that had gone 5-0 in a league, and so I started building from there. Then, while I was working on it, Seth from MTG Goldfish and Wedge from the Mana Source both did some content on it, and I have continued to work on it just to try and really get a super refined list together. So here's what I came up with. Creatures pretty standard. 4 Foundry Street Denizen, 4 Goblin Bushwhacker, 4 Goblin Guide, 4 Legion Loyalist, 4 Reckless Bushwhackers. So we got our 8 Bushwhacker effects, 3 Pile Drivers, and 4 Goblin Freerunner. So this guy, you may not know because he is not commonly played currently. So he is a 3/2 Menace for 4. He is Surge 1 and a red. So I found that Menace is better at pushing through damage than say Pile Driver. So Pile Driver will often have a higher power, but without a Loyalist to give him trample, he's very easy to block. So I wanted something that would really sort of make blocking scenarios complicated for my opponent, which he definitely does. He also fills a 3 power slot. I tried Mog Flunkies, which is the same cost off of Surge for a 3/3, but it can't attack or block alone. It actually did pretty well, but this guy is just unconditionally better. So in the interest of really enabling Surge, not only for him but also for Reckless Bushwhacker, because it does make a huge difference, I ended up going with 4 Gut Shots. I have 3 Collateral Damage and 3 Goblin Grenade. So Goblin Grenade is one of the reasons to play the deck, obviously. You know, being able to do 5 damage for a single card is huge, but sorcery speed is always a hassle. You know, I always find myself wanting to be able to play it in response to a removal spell, but obviously you can't, and that is where collateral damage comes in. Collateral damage is from Fate, and it is an instant. It only does 3 damage, but somebody tries to, you know, Lightning Bolt your Pile Driver, you can collateral damage, blank the removal spell, and hit him for 3. This is a great tool against heavy spot removal decks. Land is pretty tight. It's 8 red fetches, 7 mountains, a stomping ground, firelit thicket. Sometimes you'll end up in a position where you want to kick a Goblin Bushwhacker, you don't have the mana for it. Firelit Thicket will give you double red. Rootbound Crag is just there because it's free. It helps the splash, especially for the sideboard cards. I'm also trying out a 1 of Skarg the Rage Pits. It's similar to Kessig Wolfrun, except it's a little more mana efficient. So creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample. So in certain situations you can use this to save a creature. More often you're going to be using it to give a Pile Driver or something else trample if you don't have a Loyalist on the field. I do have Kessig Wolfrun, which I may try, but with 19 lands it's very rare that you're going to end up with an excess of mana, so I tried to keep it as tight as possible. Sideboard, this deck has a number of issues with certain decks. Abzan Company is extremely difficult. The Magma Sprays come in against them because we need to exile their Kitchen Finks as quickly as possible. Destructive Revelry is a very good card. It just totally breaks open matches that you otherwise wouldn't be able to win. It's also very important in a lot of game twos where people are bringing in Leyline of Sanctity, because that just makes your life difficult. Um, Fast combo, like graveyard decks. I bring in Tormod's Crypt. You could make an argument that Relic is better, but this synergizes very well with Surge, and even though you don't have the option of drawing a card, once again, mana efficiency. 0 mana, all you have to do to activate it is tap, boom. Dragon's Claw is there for games that are going to go on longer. Any against control opponents, they're going to be remanding and occasionally countering your spells. It's going to take you longer to kill them. So this gives you a little bit of a buffer against the deck's other big nemesis, which is Celestial Colonnade. Reality Hemorrhage comes in against Core Firewalker and Etch Champion, which are two very, very difficult to remove permanents for this deck. But they are ones that will definitely make you lose the game. This will also kill a Burnt and Forge Tender, which is another one that's starting to show up in a lot of the Quarter Calling decks. So this is where we're basically at, and so I'm going to run it through some matches, and if folks have any questions, you can certainly get at us on Twitter. It's twitter.com/T1Thoughtseize, or check out the website turn1thoughtseize.com, all spelled out. And so let's get to whacking.